I wonder if it's gonna bug you guys if I have light air conditioner. It feels like 102 degrees outside today. I have honestly been trying to film this video for the past 2 months. I have a lot of things that I want to share with you guys. And I feel like every time I try and unpack all of this, it's 2 hours long. It's just a lot of like crying and emotional baggage. Some of you guys may be sick of that. So today I'm basically just going to be catching you up on how my life has been for the past 2 months. All of the ways that I've been growing and the ways that I feel like I'm personally improving. Some ways I feel like I'm taking 2 steps forward every day, and then by the end of the day, I take 1 step back. Also just tell you guys like how I've been dealing with like anxiety and depression, everything that I've been going through in my life, like post Shane collab. I just want to have a real conversation with you guys and open up. And I've been driving around like all day, just kind of like crying in a Tesla with these gigantic rhinestone glasses on. You guys, I'm a mess. I don't remember if this is my 24th or 25th time to literally sit down and try and film this video, but every time I do, I feel like I'm either just like too emotional, or I'm not saying what I want to say, or like some days I feel like I've tried to film it when I'm just like more struggling with everything and like dealing with a lot of anxiety and just feeling like I'm not good enough and I'm not doing good enough. And oh my god, now is a car coming up. Please don't look at me right now. I honestly do hate how I have become like so vulnerable with the crying. I really hate to cry in front of other people, and I feel like in the past 2 months I have cried more in front of other people than I ever have in my life. So the first thing that I have to just say is I'm like shaking. I just want to say a huge thank you so much to you guys for all of the support and all the positivity and all of the love, and anybody who's taken the time, especially in the last 2 months, to just say like, hey, I see the efforts that you're making. I'm excited to see what you're gonna do next. Like, I love you no matter what. I'm supporting you. I read all these comments, or I try and read them all to the best of my ability. We'll get more into that later. I just feel like lately, it's just like, I feel like maybe sometimes like the negativity that I've been getting hurts me. I'm taking it more to heart than I should be. It's just like an online comment, like whatever. It's not really that big of a deal. Like, people troll and people say like mean things online all the time. That's just the way that the internet is, unfortunately. And sometimes I feel like it's getting so much worse than when I first started that I feel like almost that's what makes it a little bit difficult for me to keep up with, but I am trying my best. I do feel like right now I'm in a very raw, vulnerable, emotional state where I am exploring a lot of themes of looking a lot internally and also really trying to grow as a person. And I feel like sometimes when you're pushing like maximum density and you're burning a candle on both ends, like sometimes it can just be that little thing where you're kind of like hanging on and you're doing okay, and then like you read something that's like really mean or really negative, and it's enough that it'll just kind of like tip you over that edge just a little bit. I don't really want to focus too much on that because the positivity outweighs the negativity so much that I hate to like dot my I's and cross my T's about it at all. But I feel like it just hurts me so much coming from a place of like never really having a lot of friends in my life and never really being able to like find people in my own circle of like where I physically live that I click with and that I connect with. And I always felt like there was maybe something like broken within me, or just like some kind of like missing link. And I feel like that's why when I came to YouTube and just being able to meet you guys, you know, I know we don't know each other in real life. That's why I've always said this is like therapy to me, and I view you guys as my family and as my friends. And so that's why I feel like I take it to heart so much, is because I feel like I'm disappointing you guys and I'm letting y'all down when it's like these videos that like maybe aren't up to snuff and they're not good enough, and I don't know. And so I feel like I'm letting down the people that I love the most, and it hurts and I internalize it, and I feel like I'm just disappointing, and I don't know how to be better yet. I feel like I'm letting a lot of people down with this whole like Graveyard Girl 2.0 stuff. Oh my god, can I use this beauty blender to dry my nose and my eyes? I'm so gross. Some days I feel fresh and ready to approach Graveyard Girl 2.0, and other days I do feel like I'm just not ready yet. I feel like everybody thought that like, oh, Shane was gonna come down, he was gonna tell me like everything perfect, like what I should be doing, and then like overnight I was gonna stop being the way that I was and transform into like a magical butterfly overnight, and then all of a sudden I was gonna be a completely different person overnight. And unfortunately, I'm not that way. And some people may be able to take notes like that and then like go to sleep one night like feeling like a total piece of shit and then wake up the next day and be a totally different person. But I was literally in probably the second darkest place of my life that I have ever been in. The first being literally right before I started my YouTube channel. So you guys have never really seen me go through anything like this before, but I feel like it took me a long time to get from like 2010 to like 2013, or where I was at even in 2014. It took me a long time to progress and open up and become a happier, lighter, different person. And last year smashed my soul to bits to such a dark point that it's now a daily struggle sometimes to climb out of that extremely negative mental space. A big part of Graveyard Girl 2.0 to me, and some of you guys may be noticing this, and some of you guys may not be noticing it, and I know it's slight, it's little things, but a huge part of Graveyard Girl 2.0 to me was kind of like unpacking a lot of mental health situations and learning a lot of acts of self-care all over again. Like, I'm sure last year you probably saw that I never wore makeup and I was never really doing my hair and I wasn't dressing cute and I basically looked like a slob 9 out of 10 days. And I feel like that's because I lost my soul and I lost caring about myself. And I really gave up and I was sleeping a lot, and a lot of Graveyard Girl 2.0 to me has been those acts of self-care, which once again, I'm sure like it's not happening overnight, you guys. I'm having good days and I'm having bad days, but it's just little things that I feel like make me the essence of me, that make me feel better about myself. Like little things like just doing my hair in a silly way, or applying perfume, or wearing jewelry. A lot of the stuff that I've gotten back into extremely recently, those might sound like really tiny, minuscule steps to you guys. And I know that it doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, just getting out of bed and applying deodorant and putting on a touch of mascara, there's a lot of days where even for doing that, I feel so proud of myself because it's so far from where I was that I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you've got this. And so I feel like the thing that I said to Shane that was the most Graveyard Girl 2.0 to me was that I just wanted to be happy again. I wanted to learn to love myself again. I wanted to love doing this again. You guys, like, this is my whole life, like probably more than it should be, probably to maybe an unhealthy extent, I don't know. I'm just so passionate about it, and until I got on YouTube, I know how bad this sounds, but until I got on YouTube, I just felt so alone and isolated, and all I had was like this music that I felt like made me want to live. And I don't know, I wanted to like reach people. I just didn't want to feel so alone. And it's just having you guys has filled that void. And I feel like that's why for me, you know, I started translating like my connection to you guys became like based on like views and comments and subscribers and like that kind of like sick ratio. And that's what I want to separate from my mind, because I don't feel like our connection, the Swamp Family connection, needs that. I don't feel like I should be focusing on that. And I don't feel like it's almost like I feel like a hostage in my own channel now, because I feel like even if I want to just sit down and have fun, and I keep referring to that like lipstick swatching video because you guys, like, honestly, the feedback on that video like kind of killed me, because I had so much genuine fun that day, and I don't know if that read through or not, but I was so happy to just be there. Makeup has always been a big part of my life, and if you've been on my channel for a million years, then you probably remember, like, I used to always have at least one makeup based video a week, which was First Impression Friday. And like the times that I've been happiest in my life was when I've been like playing with makeup and testing out new products and all kinds of stuff like that, which might seem like frivolous content. I don't know. I mean, I was getting a lot of comments like, oh, I don't see you as like a makeup beauty guru. And I'm definitely like not complete. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a heat stroke. I feel like I want to open myself up to what Graveyard Girl 2.0 is ultimately going to be. And I do feel like it's more attitude than the actual content that I'm making. I do want to open myself up to exploring and doing these like bigger, more produced type content. A lot of that fills me with dread and anxiety because I'm not at the place right now, and I know how silly that sounds since I've been on YouTube forever, but I cannot film and I cannot edit like that, and so that is requiring me to have a cameraman and an editor, and we've had a little bit of a bumpy road with that lately. Right now, there's 6 videos that I filmed that are like Graveyard Girl 2.0 style that I have not been able to get edited yet, and I love the people that I've been working with. Some stuff has been going on that I'm not going to get into because it's not my personal business to share with the world, but there's just been like various obstacles that's come up, but it just makes me feel like I'm like denying what I love to do the most, which is to just come and hang out with you guys. Like, whether I'm sitting in my closet talking about a bunch of lipsticks, or I'm taking a walk in a park, or I'm doing something that's like highly edited and amazing. And it's just been a struggle within me lately to feel that everything that I'm able to produce myself is no longer good enough, and that I can't upload at all to my channel without people thinking that I'm just like disregarding Shane's advice. Like, I love Shane. I don't want to like get emotional and start crying about it, but like the introduction of his friendship into my life has been a very warm, transformative thing. I'm taking his advice. Like, I would never be that disrespectful to somebody that I respect, that I consider a personal friend of mine. I wouldn't waste his time and have him come all the way to Texas. And I mean, that wasn't even the goal of the video, is why, like, we do feel like that was like a divine hand had a play in that, because literally we were just going to film like a staying overnight in Uncommon Objects. Like, it wasn't even supposed to be all of this like Graveyard Girl 2.0 kind of stuff. Like, he just is that much of a loving person that he saw the opportunity to jump in and help me unpack some of these things that I've been dealing with, and deep dive and really try and help me. And like, even all the time, like texting me, checking in with me, trying to help me, trying to brainstorm with me. It just hurts my feelings, and it upsets me that people would think I'm that sort of like irreverent type of person, that I would just utterly like disregard everything. It takes time, and I can't like beg you to stay. I can't promise that everything is going to be perfect by tomorrow. I don't want to make these unrealistic pressures on myself. I just don't want you guys to think that because everything is not completely different 1 month later, 2 months later, even 3 months later, that I'm at any time not keeping Shane's advice like very close to my heart and very much in my mind, but I feel like I am by nature a very, I don't want to say like stagnant, but I'm slower to change. If I try and just jump in and turn my entire house upside down overnight, I do get extreme anxiety and panic attacks over it. While I feel very good in some ways, because I'm like, oh, I'm making all these like positive changes within myself. I have a fresh outlook. I have a fresh attitude about everything. Like, on the other hand, I'm also beating myself up all the time, telling myself that everything I do is bad and not good enough, and it's not Graveyard Girl 2.0 enough, and people are gonna hate it, and you know, like, I can never make a video like I did like for all 8 years that I've been on YouTube. And it's just like, sometimes I struggle with even feeling like I can keep up, or that that's really me. I've always wanted to do bigger things and better things and more edited things sometimes, but my favorite thing is literally to just flop down and talk to you guys, do tea vlogs, go thrift shopping. That is me. Like, I feel like last year I lost myself and I wasn't doing anything that I should be doing, and I let a lot of things really defeat me that are utterly out of my control. I'm not the only YouTuber on YouTube that has struggled post this giant algorithmic change. Like, you can look at lots of big YouTubers where now our world has suddenly been turned upside down, and it makes you question everything. The numbers and being reminded of the numbers constantly make you feel, I don't know if it's just me, but it does make me feel like a failure. But almost at this point, I'm like, do I just want to have fun and enjoy my life and say, hey, you can't win them all? Like, people are gonna unsubscribe, people are not gonna be down for it. I just want to be happy again, you guys. I want to be happy, and I want to hang out with you guys, and I want to connect with you guys, and I want to talk about the stuff that we've always talked about together. It's just like, I feel like I have like almost an 8-year connection with you guys. And it is hard for me to look back and just say, well, everything I've done up to this point is like wrong. Set it on fire, burn down the building, run somewhere else, and don't ever do the same thing again. I am now open to the idea, and I'm even excited about the idea of sharing a lot more personal things with you guys that I kind of frankly just thought maybe nobody would ever really be interested in. I have felt for like a couple years that I should just sit down and like get to business and like review a product or whatever, and not really like talk about like me or my life or my personality or like thoughts and feelings. Now that I've opened myself up to sharing other aspects of my life that I haven't ever really shared before, that is kind of challenging for me. And I feel like there's a lot of like really light and really dark that lives within me, which is not like a super like special thing. I know that a lot of you guys feel this way. It's hard to unpack those really dark things, and I want to make a video where I read you guys some of my poems that I wrote in college, and I want to make a video where I pop the lock on my diary that I found from high school and kind of like share those memories with you guys. But it's really hard. I have not been able to like touch or read those poems like literally until I just tried to do it shortly after the Shane collab went up, and I couldn't even do it, you guys. Like, I'm sorry. There's so much like emotional baggage in those poems. The time I wrote them, like, I was going through like the darkest period of my life, you guys, and is it okay to say like I was suicidal? And like the only reason that I like stayed alive was because I like didn't want to like hurt my family, didn't want to hurt my mom and dad, but I really I felt like worthless, and I just lived in a graveyard literally every day of my life by myself. And it's dark. It's dark to like explore those themes. It's dark to share that with you guys. I don't like to admit that that's how I felt. I don't like to admit that that's how I felt to myself. Right now, where do I draw the line between like just sending myself into some sort of emotional mania and delivering like good content that everybody wants me to deliver, you know? High school, like thinking about all that, it's like painful. Like as I was digging through all these things, and it's so crazy because it's like sometimes I've been finding like the most fun things that I'm so excited to share with you guys, and I'm like, oh my god, this memory is so great, like I can't wait to share this. And then like literally I'll turn over another piece of paper and it'll be like a letter from like my ex-best friend that I thought I was going to be friends with forever, and I still don't 100% understand what happened. But like just reading this letter from him like crushed my soul to like where I was just like laying in bed for 3 days after that. And so it's hard, you guys. And it's like, I want to share these things with you. I want to be honest and open with you. And I want to tell you guys what's going on. And I want to kind of like unpack all this with you and tell you this story. But it's hard. And it sometimes makes me feel sick afterward. I feel like to share this bonds me closer with you guys. But also I don't want to do too much too fast. It almost makes me feel and reminds me of the old days when I would like come to this channel and like film as I'm like walking around having a panic attack. And I feel like that's why I got more out of that, was the further that I dove into YouTube and the closer that I got to you guys, the happier that I became, and the less that I even wanted to talk about this kind of stuff, because I didn't feel that way when I was spending time with you. I felt happier. I felt more able. I felt more alive. I constantly felt excited. And you guys, like, you just bless my life in ways that I can't even relate. And that's why disappointing you hurts my soul, because I would be nothing without you. Every opportunity I've ever had in my life, I didn't expect to live until like past 25, you guys. And I started like kind of recording a video about all of that, because that's just like an insane, I'm just like caressing my dashboard, like trying to get through this emotional baggage. Today was not a day for self-care mascara, but I just like, oh, I had no expectations of living out these dreams in my life. Like, I made this whole video that I never uploaded because it was 2 hours long, and I'm like, oh dear God, nobody wants to click on this, where I was just talking about like, you know, so many things that I've gotten to do. Like, I spent my whole life sort of like, I feel like for the protection of myself, my own feelings, and just being an only child, and like not really ever having a lot of friends and stuff, that mostly I lived a life in my mind. Life just felt magical to me because of like all the things that I pretended that I was, that I dreamed that I was, with no real expectation of ever living out any of them. But you guys have brought me there. And you made all my dreams possible. And so I don't want to disappoint you guys. I don't ever want you guys to think that I'm ungrateful. I'm so sorry to everyone who's in this park. And I'm sorry to you guys. I'm just crying all the time. You guys, if I uploaded a video with the actual numbers that I filmed videos and cried in them and just had this like, oh my God, somebody left me a comment saying it was an emotional detox. And I love that so much, because I feel like that's what I've been doing for 2 months. And I just feel so grateful to be going through this with you guys, to be trying to expand and better myself. Beauty blender, sponsor my life. Just crying all the time into beauty blenders. If I keep this up, Trish is gonna think I'm coming for her brand. I love her so much. Oh my God. I feel like that's just been kind of one of the hardest aspects of receiving some of the negativity or the criticism that I've been receiving. And I do feel like a lot of it is constructive criticism, and it's a personal problem on my end that I'm taking it as like, you're failing, we hate everything you're doing. And if you have anxiety and if you have depression, you know how that feels when you are just like confronted with some things that aren't such a big deal, or when you're trying to process feelings and maybe like some sort of external stimuli that is triggering you in a way that it shouldn't be. And in my good moments, in my best moments, like I'm like, oh yeah, this is like good constructive criticism. But then like when it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I should be sleeping, but I want to like comment with you guys and I want to write back and I want to like engage with you guys, but I have to like scroll through some stuff. I mean, some people are just trolling and they're like, I already unsubscribed again. I'm like, okay, well, like nobody really needs to know that. That's just kind of been the hard part for me, to kind of be going through these little bouts of an emotional roller coaster and like feeling really good and feeling positive and feeling like I am making a lot of changes, and then kind of like having moments of like self-doubt or lack of confidence. And I don't want you guys to think that, I mean, I feel like overall I am like a really confident kind of person, and until I went through this like really bad hit last year, I feel like I was like just kind of gliding through life. And that's really where I want to get back to. In my weaker moments, I have been letting silly things get me down, and it just sucks because then I'm just like, oh my God, like, do I just like stay away from comments until I get a little bit more well-rounded, until I get into a completely better mental state? Like, is it smarter for me to just kind of like do my own thing and not really like read too much? But then that upsets me because I don't want to be separated from you guys. Like, I love y'all so much. And like I said, the positive so much outweighs the negative. But some days I need to just learn that some days are not a good day to read comments. That's totally not on you guys. Like, that's not your responsibility. I'm just honestly riffing with you guys right now and letting you know like the ups and downs and where I've been and kind of like all the little emotional peaks and valleys. But I just don't want you guys to think for 1 second that I am not like trying my hardest. And it's like some of these videos, like, I do think are good, and I don't know if like my radar is just off, but there's a huge portion of me that would love to find an absolute balance between the heavier edited videos and just my normal videos where I'm sitting down and having fun with you guys. And they might not be the most like emotionally riveting storytelling. Like, I can't be Shane, you guys. I love Shane, but I'm not Shane, I'm Bunny. And that's the content that I want to get back to, is bunny content, but just having fun and enjoying my life and enjoying sharing this life and this journey with you guys. I just want to be able to like come to this channel and just do what I want to do. I don't know if that sounds wrong and selfish. I want to have the freedom and feel like I'm not just disappointing everybody if I want to come and hang out and talk about makeup, do a full face of first impressions, or do a product review, or I love that kind of stuff, you know? I feel like for 8 years, like, that was my bread and butter, because I enjoyed doing that because that's what I enjoy doing. I really genuinely enjoy finding out, does this thing really work? I never wanted to leave that behind completely. I've already made this video way too long, but I love you. I love you, and I appreciate you guys so much for standing by me. And I appreciate Shane. I mean, he's never steered me in a bad direction. Like, I feel like he's done nothing but help me every step of the way. And so I'm not gonna like just not take his advice. I'm not Graveyard Girl 2.0 yet. I'm like Graveyard Girl 1.3. Some days I'm a solid like 1.5, but I am a tadpole right now. I don't have my little frog legs yet. I don't have my little frog nubs. Like, maybe in a month I'll get some gills. I'll sort of be able to like squirm up on land, but that is not today. And all I can do is hope that you guys want to stick by me for this journey and see ultimately what I become. I mean, even if it's just like a happier version of myself. That's what I hope for each and every one of you guys every day. That's always been like what I hope and I pray for you guys. I don't mean to offend anybody. Like, if you don't pray, it's everybody's personal choice. But I just want you guys to feel happy and loved and fulfilled no matter what you're doing in your life. That's what I wish for you. And I hope that that's a two-way street. Like, no matter what content I'm putting out, I just want to be a happy, healthy person that enjoys what I'm doing. The views might not be there. You guys, every video is not gonna get 1 million views. That's just not how YouTube works anymore. And some things might be more clickable, some things might be less clickable, but I kind of just don't want to constantly like scroll through the comments and be reminded that like, oh, the views aren't there on this video. I've almost gotten to the point where I don't care anymore, because I feel like social media sometimes makes us sick people. We shouldn't measure ourselves, our happiness, and our worth on the number of clicks, the number of likes, the number of comments. I feel like that's sick. And I feel like social media tries to sell us this narrative and convince us that our worth is measured in clicks and views and clout and popularity. But that's not how I want to feel about myself. And like, yes, I have goals. Like, ooh, it would be fun to hit 9 million subscribers by Halloween. But like, I don't feel like if I fail at that I should feel worthless or that I'm failing. I don't feel like if I make a video that only gets 200,000 views, like, so what? Like, 200,000 views is a lot of views, you know? And I feel like I've broken through on the other side of that, because when I was having the most fun I was ever having with this channel, and I was uploading a lot, and I was literally using it and thinking of it as a video diary to talk to you guys and make friends, I was doing lots of videos that didn't get anywhere near 200,000 views. And I feel like everyone just sort of like looks at my channel because it is bigger, and like, oh, like years ago, like I was getting like 6 million, 10 million views on a video. Like, what? I don't know, you know? Like, I mean, tastes do change, things do change, popularity does wax and wane, but I want to enjoy my life. Because if not, what am I living for? Numbers, likes, views? What kind of life is that? You know? Not one that makes me happy. And so I just want to go back to where I was like making like Shutter Island outfit of the days and like talking about these really cool shoes that I found. Just sitting down and having talks like this, just like real life talks, you know, sometimes about like mental health or like whatever's going on. I don't care what we talk about. As long as we have a conversation and a friendship together, I don't care what we talk about. I love you guys, and I would be nothing without you. And I hope you know how much I love you. Thank you for being you, and thank you for being here. And if you're going through some tough stuff, I just want to assure you, you can. There is so much to live for. I mean, look at me. Literally, if I would have like ended it before I ever got on YouTube, like, look at everything I would have missed out on. And that's what I'm always trying to tell you guys. You never know when the next day is going to come and something amazing is going to happen. And even if it's been like this Graveyard Girl 2.0 thing, and it's like just a seed, like this is just a seed of change that's been planted in my mind. But I feel like I've grown so much in just 2 months to where I literally was basically trying to crawl out of the pit of despair. And like, you just never know when the next day you're gonna do something that maybe even starts off small, that maybe you don't even understand like where the finale is gonna be yet. But if you give up on yourself and you give up before you see where things are headed, I just don't want you guys to like cheat yourself out of so much potential and so much good. And I do believe that like, even though sometimes we go through the worst times of our life, there's always something better coming. You just have to hold out for it, and you just can't give up hope. And I know a lot of you guys like deal with the same kind of stuff that I deal with, and I don't want you to just ever feel like things are too bad. I just want you to try and like hold on to that essence of yourself and just try and protect it as much as you can, because life is difficult and there are a lot of things that will try and tear you down and break you, and life is a journey, you know? And I just don't want you guys to lose yourself and just like that beautiful spark within yourself. I mean, like, even like, look at me, like last year I was a shell of a person that I am, but I held on so tight to my essence, and I feel like now I'm able to kind of like open up and flourish and blossom again. And so I just don't want you guys to lose hope, and I love you so much, and just the thought that any of you guys go through like these things that I've felt and these things that I sometimes feel, it breaks my heart because I want the best for you. But I just don't want any of you guys to give up. Today has been a really difficult video, you guys. But I think I finally said everything I wanted to say. Sometimes it takes like 25 takes. And on the 25th time, you'll get it right. But then you'll be happy that you tried 25 times. But that's like a metaphor for life, right? Like, everything doesn't work out the first time. And I'm sorry. I feel sorry sometimes for like unpacking all this stuff. Sometimes I feel like sad for like burdening you guys with these thoughts. And sometimes I feel guilty about it, because I'm like, YouTube is a place that I want you guys to come and just have fun and just like, oh, whatever. It's like nonsensical, like mindless entertainment, you know? Like, I feel like enough craziness is like going on in the world that, I do love to just use this space as like a positive hangout where we just like test silly things that have no meaning, and like, but I don't know, maybe that's not what you guys want. I don't know. Maybe you guys do like this kind of stuff. Now I've lost the beauty blender and I'm just using the inside of my shirt. I'm gonna go. I love you guys, and I value you, and I treasure you, and I hope you value and treasure yourself.